Hello, everyone, and welcome to one new episode of Fancast podcast. Today, our guest is Bones and the Bees. You may know them as the author of Communicating for Supervillains. You can find them on AO3 under that name. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I am very good because Craig decided to not be a little bitch today. Oh, are you okay with swearing?
I'm perfectly fine with swearing. I say the word fuck
Good.
about like thousands of times in my
Good, 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 good. So, as I already said, you are mostly known in this fandom as the author of Communicating for Supervillains.
Yes, I am. That is my very famous fic at this point.
Did you expect for it to become as big as it is when you first started writing it?
No, I had an idea that it might get like semi-popular because I'd been analyzing like how big fics got in the Minecraft YouTube fandom for a while at that point, which was part of the reason why I wanted to start writing fics for the fandom because I saw like how big the fandom was and how popular the fic community was, and I was like, damn, I could, profit off that. And also I just wanted to because it was like fun story stuff I wanted to explore. But I had a feeling like, okay, superhero AUs are really popular in this fandom, and stuff that's funny also gets really popular in this fandom. And I could do funny and I could do a superhero AU. So I had a feeling it was gonna get like semi-popular, but I was thinking at most like 50,000 hits. Like that was my goal pretty much, was like 50,000 hits. I'm almost at 800,000 hits, so I overshot a little bit.
Let's just say you miscalculated there.
I miscalculated a little bit.
You said you were like analyzing the fandom. What was your impression? Like when you were doing the analysis, what were your impressions about this fandom before you started like being a writer for it?
Um, well, I got into Minecraft YouTube, like the Dream SMP fandom specifically, around like January of 2021, like very beginning of January 2021. But I don't think I wrote my first fic for it until March or April. Because I was like, because there's a weird that's a whole thing about like the weird gray line between like what's RPF versus what's like writing about the roleplay
Yeah.
characters. And I have some personal squicks with RPF and stuff, so I was very like hesitant to dive into it. But also it was my latest interest, and writing is something I always want to be doing at all times. And I just the urge to write fic got stronger and stronger for this. And so I started reading fic basically, and then I saw like one, how active the fandom was, and then two, I saw how a lot of it, it was actually really like normal and not weird champ, like how RPF can get sometimes,
Yeah.
because it's not RPF, it's based off the roleplay characters, but it's complicated and there is some weird shit out there. But I just saw how active it was and how like stuff would blow up super fast, and I started being like, huh, I could do that.
Great. That is great. So you have, as I said, written Communicating for Supervillains, but you have also written over like a lot of other fics in this fandom. What is like your favorite one aside from Clinic? Because like Clinic, it is hard to not pick favorites when you have one that is so popular.
Oh, that's a really hard question. I would say, oh god, that's really hard because I like a bunch of my different fics for different reasons. Like Amethyst and Flowers on the Table is the first one that comes to my mind when I think of like what one of my favorites is, because my writing in that was really good. Like my prose specifically was really good. I usually cannot do super flowery prose. It's just not something I lean towards, and I'm fine with that. I know that I'm skilled at writing in other areas. But I don't know what I was on when I wrote that, but like I read back that sometimes and I'm like, God damn, my prose popped off there. So I do like that one. But I would have to say, if I had to pick like a overall favorite besides like Clinic, I would I might go with my fic, I'm Somewhere You're Somewhere, which is a very angsty MCD fic that I did not expect to write, but it was very much a love letter to my hometown, San Diego, because I decided to put it in San Diego for the most part. And so I really loved getting to just write a lot of environmental atmosphere stuff for my hometown because I love San Diego so much.
Oh, that is lovely. Actually, fun fact, I refused to like read Clifford Supervillains for a long time because I don't read long fics. But I didn't know this. I knew you beforehand because of your Hunger Games fic.
Games fic. Oh, I love that one too, actually. That one's
Yeah.
up there with one of my favorites. I really love the Hunger Games as a piece of literature, and I could go off about how it's such a good example of dystopian
Yes.
literature. So I
Yes.
really wanted to recreate that and kind of like put my own spin on that kind of story because I just love the Hunger Games so much as a piece of literature, and I really like how I managed to make a version of that like on my own.
Yeah, I love it because like I love the Hunger Games too because of that. I find it funny that I was like, oh, who is the I knew you as the person who wrote the Hunger Games fics, and my intrigue was like, this is the person who wrote Gleek for supervillains. What are you talking about? It was funny. So going back to Clinic, you say like you were expecting it to be famous, but not as big as it is. Were you expecting like to be basically what people think about when they think of superhero use in this fandom?
Not at all, no. It's really funny how I've kind of seen the superhero genre, like, in this fandom change ever since I started Clinic, because there were pretty much as far as I'm aware, there were, like, no civilian Tommy fics before Clinic. There was one, which was Silver Wings, One Man's Trash, but that was different. It was, like, a different tone. He was, like, very much like a younger kid in that one. So, yeah, he was a civilian healer, but it was, like, a very kind of different vibe, and I hadn't even read One Man's Trash when I came up with the concept for Clinic, so I didn't know that that was Silver's concept. Um, but besides that one, I never saw Civilian Tommy anywhere. So, but now like you go into the superhero like AU tag and that Civilian Tommy has gotten so popular as a trope. Like it's basically for Civilian Tommy, I guess you could say Clinic is kind of like what Tommy and its unbeatable method of avoiding sudden death did for vigilante fix. Like kind
Yeah.
of kickstarted the genre.
Yeah, because like everyone was doing either hero or villain Tommy or vigilante Tommy, right? Exactly, because of the unbeatable method of avoiding certain deaths. I'm not even gonna try to say that fast. But like I think what a lot of people saw in League of Supervillains was not only civilian Tommy, but Tommy being like a reluctant hero for the villains. Like reluctant. He's very much like a fine attitude towards the whole thing.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. When I don't even remember. I'm trying to remember exactly how I came up with the concept for Civilian Tommy, and I think I'd been trying to write a superhero AU for months. Like I first decided I wanted to write a superhero AU back in like May or June, I think. That was when I first really started kind of wanting to write one of my own. And I had several ideas, but I just kept getting bored with them. Like one was a vigilante Tommy idea, another was a villain Tommy idea. And I don't know, I just wasn't able to stick with them. And then I was just like looking at my superhero AU ideas docs, like on Google Docs one night. And I just thought to myself, like, what if Tommy was just a dude? And then I was like, wait
Yeah.
a minute, and that's something right there. And then I just the plot for Clinic just immediately started forming in my mind. And that was when I knew, oh, I think I have something finally.
Yeah, so it was like, oh yeah, I just want him to be like the random dude, like that one who's like always in the corner.
Yeah, I was like, what if he's just not involved in the hero villain vigilante discourse at all and he just gets dragged in? Like that alone is already a really interesting conflict setup. And it's just not it wasn't something I'd ever seen before. I'd never seen civilian Tommy before up until that point. So I was like, oh, I think I want to look more into that. And so then I started brainstorming.
I love that. I love that. Honestly, like this, you maybe don't know what I'm talking about, but the story at the start gave me like the vibes from the fic from Only in a Cafe and other heroic deeds. But it's more than that because Tommy is literally just like the dude. But at the same time, he's so connected to everything because his roommates are vigilantes. He has healing powers, which apparently are rare. It is like every single piece of thread that united in the story for him to be able to be like the why me dude in the whole thing.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't even realize it in the beginning, but he is just already like kind of pulled into this world because of Ranbu and Tubbo being vigilantes. He doesn't even know that part. And then he just, gets himself even further involved and just gets sucked in, even though he really just wants to live his life and pay his rent.
Yeah. He wants to like pay rent and he cannot, so he just grabs himself a rich older brother.
Exactly.
So, aside from Clinic, which you actually only finished recently, you're now working on another superhero fic, The World Forgetting by the World Forgot, which is also a very ingenuitive twist on the genre.
Yes, yeah. So the thing was, I think this was around November was when I first came up with the concept for World Forgetting because I did not plan on writing another superhero AU after I finished Clinic. I thought to myself, yeah, I'm writing this giant ass like superhero AU story. I'm probably going to be done with superhero AUs when I finish Clinic. And that was kind of my thought process. And I was like trying to think of what I wanted to do after I finished Clinic because I wasn't expecting Clinic to blow up so much. And then it did. And then I was like, well, shit, I got to take advantage of this clout and have like ideas ready to go. Um, because I've been writing fanfic for a very long time, but I've never gotten famous in a fandom before. So I'm like, I'm taking advantage of it while I can. I enjoy it. It's
Yep.
very encouraging for me. So I was trying to think of like new ideas and stuff. And I was brainstorming future plot lines for Clinic, and I did come up with an alternate plot line for Tommy in Clinic. And then I thought to myself, no, that's way too fucking dark. I can't do that because Clinic has a very light tone, and I'm someone who's very strict on keeping my tones consistent in my stories. Like, because that's one of my biggest pet
Mhm.
peeves when I read other stories is if tone is inconsistent. So I came up with this idea, and then I was like, no, that's too dark for Clinic, but it wouldn't get out of my head. And I was like, I could I could make this its own story. And then I was like, I'm not going to write another superhero AU though. But then I kept thinking about it. I was like, maybe I am going to write another superhero AU because it was just a very brief idea in Clinic. Well, I don't know if I should say Clinic spoilers. I don't know if I should talk about specific Clinic spoilers in here though. Um,
It has Clinic is already ending bad. Okay, from this point on, there is a spoiler warning for Clinic for supervillains, since it's more one of the most iconic like fics in the
yeah,
genre.
yeah. I feel
I
like
would
most
find it
people have
weird for
probably read
people
it.
to not have the spoilers, honestly.
Exactly. It's like spoiling. Yeah. So at this
Yeah.
point, I was trying to plan what I wanted to do. Like Dream was kidnapping Tommy, and I knew that was going to happen. And I was trying to plot what would happen while Tommy was in Dream's custody. And the thing was, I already had like my vague idea for a plot, like for what the whole plot, overarching plot of Clinic was going to be. But I don't plot things out super specifically, chapter by chapter. And that kind of is what keeps me interested in how I do these really long fics. So I was
Mhm.
basically trying to like brainstorm ideas, and then I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be like fucked up if like I don't know, somehow like Dream brainwashed Tommy into like being his protege? And then I was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna fit the tone of Clinic at all. That's not where I want to take Clinic. But then I was like, protege AUs are pretty interesting though. The whole concept of like
Yeah.
Tommy becoming Dream's protege, that's a common kind of AU I've seen a lot of fics for. And I thought to myself, well, that could be an interesting fic on its own. And thus, then you have the plot of World Forgetting, which was, Tommy losing his memories and becoming Dream's protege. And that's where World Forgetting forgot.
Oh, 1 second. I could not hear the last part.
Oh, sorry.
No, no,
Where
just
did.
the last sentence only.
Oh, yeah, no. So, yeah. So basically, the World Forgetting by the World Forgot, just the concept of like Tommy losing his memories and kind of becoming like Dream's protege, and then all the complications that kind of was kind of the basis of the World Forgetting by the World Forgot, and that idea just kind of stuck in my head, and then I decided, you know what, I can turn this into a full story, so let's do it.
And you just roll with it, honestly. That is great. That is great thinking. You, as you said, you have like very long fix. So, and you say that planning the plot like very loosely is what keeps you interesting.
Hmm. Yeah.
What
Uh,
is
Sorry,
it
go on.
hard to like write long fix like that and keep them without finishing each one of them?
I think, I have definitely struggled in the past with, finishing long fics. The thing is I've gotten better at it over the years. I've been writing fan fiction since I was 15, and I'm, 21 now, so I've been doing this for a very
Well,
long time. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
old. Um, but,
No, no.
uh yeah, no, I've been writing fan fiction for a very long time, and it's taken me a while to figure out like how to write long multi-chapter fics and not get bored of them because that's been something I've struggled with for a while. Because, and I'm sure most writers do struggle with that. You lose motivation, and I think Clinic was
Oh yeah.
really I was reluctant to start posting Clinic at first because I thought it was going to turn into another one of those situations where I get bored of it and I stop wanting to post it. So that was why I decided to do my planning for it a little bit differently than how I've done it in the past, which usually was like I'll outline the entire thing ahead of time. But this time I decided, okay, I have a loose idea of like where I want this to go. I have an idea of what I want for the ending, but I'm only going to actually plot out specific chapters a few chapters in advance. I only ever had about like 3 chapters of Clinic planned out ahead of time usually. Um I would usually plan out about 3 at a time, like 2 or 3, and then once I reached the end of those 3 and I'd written all of them, then I would plot the next, like, 2 or 3, and it kept it not knowing exactly the specifics of how I was gonna get from, like, point A to point B was what kept me interested, and I basically figured out, "Oh, this is how I need to be writing multi-chapter fics," and so it was, like, trial and error that I've been experimenting with for years, and I finally think I've, like, figured out how to stick with these really, really long stories.
As someone who is notorious for leaving everything at chapter 3, I find that very admirable.
Ye
Admirable.
Yeah, if you look at my AO3, I have, Big Q's Big Six got abandoned, which is very unfortunate. I got, like, 50,000 words or so into that, and again, that one was the curse of I plotted everything out beforehand, and then I got bored of it, and also, I started posting Clinic right around the time I was reaching a slow spot in the Big Q's Big Six plan, so I just got distracted by Clinic, and because it started blowing up really quickly.
Yeah. No, honestly, that leaving fan fictions at like 50K words, that's completely valid. Again, I am notorious for leaving everything at chapter 2 or 3, and I don't write that. I'm not that good of a writer, so I just leave everything with 5K words. So, I think that is amazing and very, very valid.
I mean, yeah, honestly, the thing with fan fiction though is like you're doing this for free. It's something that you're doing for fun, for your own personal enjoyment. So I think if you're not having fun with like with writing a story anymore, just abandon it, man. Like it's kind of a
Yeah.
controversial take, I guess,
If it
because it's
becomes a
not
chore, you should just leave it alone. That is my
exactly.
saying.
And the thing is like you're never the fact that you've even written just a little bit of it, that practice for writing alone is still going to improve your skills and that still helps you. So honestly, I'm all for authors abandoning stories if they don't want to write them anymore. Sure, it's a bummer for the reader, but you're not paying for it. Like,
That's
just do what you
I
want as a
love I
fanfic
love
author.
your view of I love your view of fan fiction.
Oh god, I have like so many just opinions on like writing and fanfic advice. I'm an old lady. I've been involved in this stuff for too long.
You're not that old, trust me. Like I find it funny because we've been writing for like around like only you have only been writing for fan fiction for like 2 years more than me. And yet you have come this far. You're not that old, don't worry.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I do feel old in this fandom. I know I'm not, but
Oh
like
yeah, I get it. I get it.
the
It is
average
full
age of
of
this fandom.
child.
Yes.
Everyone here is a child. I get it.
Yeah, so I feel like an elderly lady even though I know that I'm not.
Yeah, like I am 18 and here I'm seeing everyone and I'm like, you're a child. How did you even get in the internet? That's a joke,
Exactly.
guys. Don't worry.
Some people join my Discord server and, they'll be like 13 and I'm just like, "Oh, yeah." Like no offense to 13-year-olds. I'm just like, you're here. Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
I
right.
didn't
You
get
see.
involved I didn't even get involved with fandom at all until I was around 15. So it's definitely like weird to
Oh, you're
remember
one
that
of
that
the
was
lucky
not
ones.
Yeah, I stay clear of this stuff like bad stuff when I was younger. I don't know how because I had completely unsupervised internet access. I just managed myself very well.
Yes, you're one of the lucky ones. As someone who accidentally got on Wattpad at 11 and be like, that is so lucky. You're one
Oh
of the
no.
lucky ones. So, going, you've been writing for a long time. How many fandoms have you like shifted through?
Ooh, well, there's like several ways I can answer this because I could answer like how many fandoms that because I consider like main fandoms that I've written fic for, which is usually I've written more at least two or more fic for it. Then I consider that like one of my main phases. Um, but then I also have like ones where I'll write like a really short one shot for just one fandom that I was like kind of into, but not super heavily. So if we're talking like main fandom phases, I would say my whole pipeline for fic writing. It started with Miraculous Ladybug when I was 15. That was the
Nice.
first fandom I ever posted fan fiction for. So I went to Miraculous Ladybug, and then I went to Voltron, which was
Nice.
I am a goddamn Voltron veteran, and
Listen,
before
Voltron is one of my favorite shows. That is fucking valid.
okay, but the fandom was, like, the worst fandom I've
Oh
ever been
yeah,
involved in my
yeah,
entire life. Like, that was a horrible fandom experience in
yeah.
retrospect, and it
Oh yeah.
also, I before Clinic, my most popular fic ever was a Clance Voltron fic that I'd written when I was 16. And compared to Clinic, it only has like 35,000 hits, but for like Voltron, that was a bigger fic for sure because it wasn't those numbers are like common in the Minecraft YouTube fandom these days, but like for most fandoms, 35K is like that's a pretty solid amount of hits to have.
Yeah. Like
And
I
then
think
from
that's the thing with like big fandoms that it changes the numbers.
exactly, it depend like it really kind of drastically alters it. So then after Voltron, Mystic Messenger was my next fandom. And I was like half writing fic for that, but also I was just very involved with RP actually for that. So I did write some fic for that, but I was primarily involved in like RP with my ex-girlfriend actually for Mystic Messenger. Um and I was really into that for a while. And then I kind of just dipped out for a while. I wasn't like super heavily involved in a specific fandom for like a year or two. And then I shifted back to Mystic Messenger like 2 years later. So I was originally into Mystic Messenger in 2016, and then I got into it again in 2018. And I wrote a fic that's my second longest fic now. Clinic being
Whoa.
the only one that's longer than that. Um, and the thing was, the Mystic Messenger fandom was fucking dead in 2018 because it really only spiked in 2016, and then it kind of died out. So like this fig was like long as hell, and it only got about 3,000 hits because again, it's a dead fandom. But I had a fun time with it, so I'm still glad I wrote it. And then after that, I briefly got into Avatar: The Last Airbender when that resurgence happened around the period. Um,
Mm.
I got into writing fic for that fandom, and I had like a bit of minor success writing some Zuko fics, Zuko X Sokka stuff. Um, and
We all
then
love the Stoke graphics.
yeah, and then I don't know if I would say Death Note was exactly a fandom phase for me because Death Note was an anime that came out in 2005. That fandom's been dead for a while. But I did end up writing a full Death Note fic that I finished around March 2021. Um, and I finished that, and then that was when I hopped on over to Dream SMP. So that's kind of my full pipeline.
Those are a lot of fandoms.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, that is so good. I think the best writers are the ones who like jump from one place to another because like we've seen shit.
Oh yeah, no,
Like
I've
the
seen
Voltron
so
fandom
much.
prepared me for the shit I was gonna see here. Let's be honest.
No, literally, like any like don't get me wrong, yeah, the Dream SMP fandom is a little bit of a shit show because it's so big, but honestly, it is not as bad as the Voltron fandom
It
was,
is.
like at
It
all.
is
And
not as bad.
when I see people shitting on the Dream SMP fandom a ton, I'm like, guys, you have no goddamn clue how much better this is than like
Don't you
Voltron.
dare cite the old magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Oh, Voltron was a shit show. Voltron was. I'm just now thinking about that again.
Oh god, yeah. Literally, like with my, I had my popular clans fic for that. By the time I was finishing that clans fic of mine, the fandom had just. I hated clans by the end of it because not because of anything in the show really, but the fandom just annoyed me so goddamn much, especially the clan shippers, because everyone was being so goddamn annoying about it. and I was so tired of it that by the time I was finishing that, I hated Clance, and not just because the fandom made me hate it. I forced myself to finish the fic because it was really popular, but it was hard because I really did not want to.
I get that. I get that. Like there is a lot of time when like fics get popular and you're like, yeah, this is way too popular to like abandon it now.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, well, shit, can't abandon you, but also
Like the captain, I'm going to sing with this fucking ship.
exactly.
So, but you're happy now in the MSMP fandom, right? We haven't freaked you out yet.
Oh no, no, no. I'm having a really good time.
That's great.
I've even reached the point where I'm like, I don't really even care about lore discourse anymore. I get really tired every time I see lore discourse because I'm just like, man, we're getting lore at all, and I consider that a gift. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't get involved in lore discourse, and honestly, I'm at a point also where I'm not even really involved in the Dream SMP fandom for the lore because I kind of accepted that lore wasn't coming back. So I'm a little shocked by this past week and how much lore we've
Yeah.
gotten because I
I
kind of
think we
accepted,
all
oh,
like
what?
collectively got shocked by the fact that we are getting like daily awesome do lore streams.
Yeah, the majority of my enjoyment from this fandom is actually coming from things like the fix in the community, pretty much.
Yeah. Like that is something of this fandom that I love. Is like I had never been in a fandom where fan fiction is the driving force behind it all.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
it's definitely yeah, no, for sure. It's really cool to see just like how drastic of an impact fan fiction like has on this fandom. Though it is also ironic how fanfic is so often dismissed in this fandom at the same time, but that's another
Right?
conversation.
It is like yeah, that is that conversation. People that don't read fan fiction are so toxic towards fanfic writers, honestly. And then we have We Were
Mhm.
Suit.
And then we have Wilbur's foot. I don't know, that brought up the whole Wilbur posting on AO3 thing brought up a lot of bad takes in this fandom that really kind of reminded me of how some people really do shit on fanfic writers or just don't see writing as like a valuable form of art. Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
Wilbur at one point during the stream said like, like he views fan fiction as being like just as valid of a form of art as like animatics and stuff. And
that made me so
I was
happy.
listening I was like driving at the time. I was just listening to the stream like while I was driving somewhere, but I literally almost started like tearing up at that because it just I that was a just to hear a CC say that really meant a lot. And just hearing my like chosen form of art get validated so hard by a CC of all people, it meant a lot to me. I was really happy to hear him say that, and I really liked his
Honestly.
AO3 story too. And I'm really glad that that's how we ended up getting that kind of lore.
Yeah, I'm happy about it because like Wilbur Suit is like the main story writer about the SMP. For him specifically to like validate fan fiction that way, it is so good. Did you survive the Wilbur Suit following spree?
I did not get followed by Wolversoot,
Oh,
so
you survived.
I survived. I think he actually only followed Sercantus. Like, I think people were freaking out thinking he was following a bunch of
Yeah,
writers. I think he only followed Sercantus actually,
that was
but
hilarious.
I was so fucking scared. And honestly, I still check my like following my new follower notifications because I'm just like worried that one of these days I'm just gonna like miss it. And then I'm gonna click on Wilbur Soot's like Twitter profile and I'm gonna see follows you and I'm gonna just have a goddamn heart attack.
You're gonna be like, no.
Don't
Honestly.
perceive me.
Like I'm safe. Like I have the reach of a potato. My most popular story is not even in this fandom, so I'm like I'm safe. But I still think it's funny. It's like the great era TikTok scare of 2021
Oh God,
on
you're right.
Twitter
Yeah,
this time.
that's exactly it. I'm very much in the danger zone with the popularity of Clinic. Honestly, I've accepted that like if Wilbur likely went I think that he probably at least went through like the top picks on AO3 just to see how Minecraft tagging worked when he was trying to figure out tags and stuff.
And then she didn't tag
Um,
anything.
yeah, and then he ended up not doing anything. I mean, he followed Sercantus, which, gives me the idea that he, saw I don't know. I don't know if he did actually go through AO3 or not, but if he did at all, there is definitely a high chance that he at least skimmed the summary for Clinic since it is right at the top of the Minecraft tag.
Yeah.
I've most likely been perceived, and that's a little terrifying.
uh, Yeah, that is, I think that is the only downside that I can see to be like one of the main figures of that fandom.
Yeah, the risk of being perceived. But then also,
Yeah,
I do think in a sense, it's just I don't know if you don't mind me going off on a little tangent here.
don't
Um,
worry, you're allowed to do so.
um, the thing is in this fandom with fanfic and stuff, I've noticed, I feel like some people, even if they're like, even though they do respect creator boundaries, like in the sense of like no shipping and stuff like that, I do
Mhm.
still think a lot of people break boundaries without realizing it, or in the sense, or like they're pushing the line a little bit. Because yes, you're writing about like the RP characters, but they're still it's very much a gray area between the character
Yeah,
and the CC because a lot of them share the same name, a lot of them share the same traits and stuff. So you still really need to be careful with how you portray that kind of stuff. And just because it's not shipping doesn't automatically mean it's not weird champ. You know
yes,
what I mean? Like
I
I've
know
definitely
exactly what you mean.
yeah. So I try to be very aware of the fact that, like, it is possible for a CC to see what I write because the thing is in this fandom, like, when you're writing RPF of, like, say, like, fucking, I don't know, K-pop stars or whatever, they're never gonna see it. But the thing is, in this fandom, the content creators are on the internet, and so they are very likely, like, they are on the internet, they are interacting with their fan base on a regular basis, like, very closely. So,
Yeah,
CCs very well could see the stuff you put up in fan fiction, and it's like, it's not this isolated thing, these real people can read what you write, and so I always try to keep that in mind, like, okay, how would I feel if a CC like read this? How uncomfortable would it make me? And there are definitely some fics of mine where I'm like, oh, I would be very anxious if a CC read this, but nothing that would make me like intensely uncomfortable and make me want to delete the fic or anything. Like nothing like that. But and like Clinic, I'm glad that Clinic is the one of mine that got popular because that's the one I really do not mind if a CC read it because that one I'm like, yeah, that one 100%. I have no problem with that.
that
And I
one
feel like a
passes
lot of
the check.
yeah, so I feel like the Wilburset following Sercantus thing and that whole deal and him, basically making everyone aware, like, yeah, he is aware of AO3 and what gets posted on AO3 and stuff. It was kind of a good reminder for the fandom that, like, yeah, CCs will see fix and not just like heat waves, but like
Yeah,
other fix. And I
yeah.
feel like people in this fandom need to be reminded of that.
Honestly, like I don't forgot that there are a lot of CCs that we know for a fact have like AO3 accounts. Like off the top
Mhm.
of my head, I can say Nikki, Foolish, Velvet, Filtha, Weaver, fucking Suit, probably Eret.
Yeah, Eric probably does. Wait,
Like,
Foolish?
oh, Foolish said that he wanted to like when Nikki was doing like the old streams reading Passerine. Foolish kept saying over and over, "I would like to read fan fiction on stream too," and a lot of people mentioned AO3. So I'm like 70% sure that Foolish at least has an AO3 account.
Oh my god. Okay, I haven't heard that one before actually. That's really
That's
surprising.
what happens when I don't miss a Foolish stream. I am very aware of the fact that he may like I don't think it's that possible, but I'm like 70% sure he at least knows what AO3 is, which
Oh yeah,
like
no, I'm
terrifying.
sure he like most creators do know at least what AO3 is.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
still terrifying. And then we have Velvet, who on the regular jokes about writing the NF fanfiction.
God damn. Yeah, no. I mean, Velvet's a whole nother story.
Like, God damn it, Velvet, you're scaring the children. Uh, so like speaking of it, like speaking about this boundary stuff, it's like a lot of people actively forget that the content creators are on the internet, and I think that is like spreading a line. Like for example, do you remember when I don't know if you know this. Eret once commented on a TNT doser strap on TikTok. I don't think I'm supposed to be here.
Remember that? Oh god, that was funny, but also just like, oh, the cringe.
Oh, it was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, again, it's just like I feel like this fandom, because there's like the guise of saying like, oh yeah, they're writing about the RP characters or drawing the RP characters. People often think that it's like gives them this freedom that you would have with normal fictional characters, but I feel like
Yeah,
that's not the case. Like, yes, you
no,
are writing
because
about the characters, but at the same time, they're still not completely fictional characters. It's not like you're writing about a completely removed fictional cartoon character. they are still connected to the CC. There is still a gray area there, and you still need to be very, very aware of what it is that you are writing. So I think it's just, and I feel like a lot of fic writers in this fandom, especially, I've seen some stuff that definitely makes me think like you are definitely forgetting that like this, you can't just go hog wild with these RP characters because they are not just solely characters. They are very heavily connected to the real people.
Exactly. Like people tend to forget that just because you put, oh, this is about the roleplay characters, not about the content creators, that does not mean that those characters are heavily based on the content creators, played by content creators, written by content creators, and that at least they specifically say, oh, there's a separation between me and this character, like for example, Nikki has done. It is a very icky line.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I try very, very hard with my own writing to be very strict in my like boundaries of what I do to differentiate between CCs and characters and CCs. I try very hard. I have certain rules that I kind of put in place for myself for how I characterize certain characters or like just appearance descriptors. Like in my earlier stuff, in some of my earlier fics, you'll notice I did say I think sometimes that Tubbo had brown hair, but I since then I later switched it to saying pretty much all the time Tubbo has blonde hair in my stories, and that's a tiny thing, but that is I want people to be picturing the character
Yeah.
Tubbo and not like actual CC Tubbo.
A
And
lot of
so
people
that's
forget that Tao has canonically blonde hair.
yeah, exactly. Like Tubbo is blonde, so I do write Tubbo as like having blonde hair, like usually bleached hair is how I'll usually interpret it. Um, and it's little things like that. And then I also just have little like characterization things that I try to keep in mind to differentiate like CCs from like stuff. So I try very hard, but I also of course recognize it's a gray area no matter what. So in a sense I am
Yeah,
writing PDF, but I'm just trying I do not like like straight up RPF. So I
it's a
try
gray
very hard to
area.
stay
It's a gray
within.
area.
I try very hard to stick more with the character side of things.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. So, speaking like going back to clinic, and this is like I'm going to try to like divert after this, but like, how do you feel knowing that there are people actively making fun art and cosplaying not the lore and the rules and be, but your fic? Like
God,
for example,
that
hey, cosplay started cosplaying like Clinic Tavo a little bit ago.
yeah, the cosplays were wild to see happen. I never thought that people would cosplay from my fic. I never ever thought I would have a fic that people would cosplay. And it started, I remember the first person who cosplayed someone. It was someone on TikTok that I saw who cosplayed Tommy from Clinic. And I thought that was really, really cool. And I was like, holy shit. So I gave the person a shout out and then it started happening more. And then I think it really kicked off when Hey Hey on they cosplayed Siren from Clinic, and they are a very
Oh
popular
right, they
cosplayer on
cosplayed
TikTok.
Siren before. I forgot about that. I just
Yeah,
remember
first they
Tavo.
cosplayed. Yeah. First they cosplayed Siren, and then later they cosplayed Nuke. But first, yeah, the first they did Siren, and they are a very, very popular TikTok cosplayer. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I'm not on like DSMP or Minecraft YouTube TikTok at all. Like I try not to my TikTok account is related to my real face and my real name and real people I know follow me on there. And also I try to keep at least one of my social medias like clear of anything related to Minecraft YouTube and Dream SMP so that I can get kind of a mental break from my hyperfixation if I want.
That is so valid.
So I don't want any like Minecraft YouTube stuff popping up on my TikTok for you page because I kind of try to keep that clear for my own like just mental boundary in that sense if in case I ever need a break from it.
Yeah.
So I had no clue who Hey was because I'm not involved in Minecraft YouTube at all. But I saw someone link me their cosplay, like, oh look, someone cosplayed Siren. And I was like, yo, that's so cool. And then I clicked on their profile and I saw they had like 250,000 followers or something, and I was like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah, Hey, one of the most iconic cosplayers alongside Sherbert Wake.
hmm Yeah, no,
Yep.
so that was really, and then after they did it, then like other Clinic cosplays really started blowing up, and the TikTok like tag for Clinic started just blowing up a lot. And I also think the TikTok tag in general for Clinic blowing up, that was also in really largely due to Ripples Are Stable. She drew like little cartoon type things based on Clinic. and they
Yeah,
were
I
really
saw
funny.
those.
And yeah, a lot of she's one of my mods in my server now. I love her. But
Oh,
she started drawing like all these really funny little joke like cartoons and stuff on TikTok, and that also those started going viral. So that's also what really started just like the TikTok side of it. In general, it was really wild for me to watch.
was it exciting at least?
Yeah, no, it was, wild in, like, a good way. I was very
Oh,
excited. I was like
yeah.
I was, like, amazed. I was like, "Holy shit." Like, 1, I'm having, like, all this art getting drawn, and now I'm having people cosplaying, and that was just it was shocking, and then it was so cool to see, like, all that kind of stuff. I never thought that I would have, like, like, it's basically like a mini fandom. Like, Clinic basically
Exactly.
at
It's
that
like a
point
mini
had its own.
fandom inside a fandom.
Exactly, and that was just it was really surreal for me in, like, a very good way, and I was just honored, honestly, that people liked my, like, stupid little stories this much this much, and they were, like, straight up cosplaying it. I thought that was just awesome, and it was just so cool to see, and a lot of times I'll still go and, like, click on different, like, Clinic TikToks, and then I read through the comments and stuff because I like seeing what people say in the comments about it, and it's really cool. It's a really, really awesome feeling.
Yeah. Going like away from Clinic for a bit. Who is your favorite character to write? This is like a question I like asking writers. Because like there's a
Ooh.
difference between your favorite character and your favorite character to write.
This is I this is hard. I would say honestly, Wilbur is my favorite character to write. I'm a huge like C Wilbur like fan. I love him as a character so much in the Dream SMP. I love analyzing him. Wilbur as a CC is the entire reason I got into the Dream SMP in the first place. He was the one I knew beforehand, so I've always been very invested in like C Wilbur as a character. And he's such a complex character, so I really enjoy writing him. And for usually for my like my big multi-chapter fic, or for like I have like my two different types of fics. I have like my big multi-chapter ones like Clinic or World Forgetting, but then I also have like kind of my smaller, like I call them my mini fics, even though they're usually between like 15 to 40K words anywhere. Which I am aware is not many, but for me that's many.
No, yeah,
So
it is like literally it is a novella, less than a novel. In writing terms, it is a short story.
like my novellas and stuff basically, a lot of them are in Wilbur's point of view, whereas usually my big multi-chapter
Yeah.
Tommy's point of view, and that's because I really like getting the chance to analyze Wilbur in like these more quieter kind of mini fix situations. Like with my Hunger Games AU, that was Wilbur centric. I'm Somewhere You're Somewhere, that was also in
Yep.
Wilbur's point of view. And I just have a lot of fun writing like from his point of view. So I would say Wilbur is my favorite character to write, though I do have a lot of fun writing Tommy, and I find Tommy the easiest to write. Like I find Wilbur pretty easy to write too, but Tommy I do understand a bit like more naturally. I have to think a little bit more when I'm characterizing Wilbur.
Yeah, it's at this point it must be like second nature to write Tommy because he's the protagonist of like the longest fic. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like this sounds bad, but it's like memory, muscle memory.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, and I've done obviously I think like the majority of this fandom has this idea. I wouldn't necessarily agree with this, but the general consensus is kind of that like C Tommy is the main character of the Dream SMP.
Yep.
Again, I don't think that's exactly true. It depends on whose perspective you watch, but um I did actually end up getting more into the Dream SMP lore through Tommy. So I am most familiar with his character specifically. So yeah, that does make it a little like easier for me to like write him and stuff.
I think there is some people see Canon Tommy as like the main character. It's mostly because he's the one involved with the most like side stories.
Hmm.
Like he's the one who had a connection with the egg, the one in exile, the one who had Sam by his side when everything was happening to Sam with the egg. It's like he's the easiest entry point, it could be said.
Exactly. Yeah, he has a lot of connections everywhere. He's not exactly connected in everything these days, but
You know.
he back about a year ago, he was like definitely connected with just about everything. So that definitely makes him a really easy entry point. But oh yeah, another thing I wanted to mention about why I like writing Wilbur as a character so much is because with my minifics, I tend to focus a lot more on introspection and like character like emotions and thought process and arcs and stuff than whereas like my bigger multi-chapter fics are more plot based. So and I feel like as someone in my 20s, I can connect a lot more to Wilbur as a character than I can to Tommy because Tommy is, a teenager,
Yep.
and whereas like Wilbur is an adult and but like has to deal with. I know technically because of Limbo, he's like in his 40s or whatever the fuck, but I still basically headcanon him as being
Yeah.
like mid 20s basically. So as someone in my 20s,
Mhm.
I tend to connect a lot more to Wilbur as a character too. So that's why I like writing him for like my more introspective fics a lot more.
Mhm. That is so nice. Like, Canon Weaver, in this podcast, he usually doesn't get that much love, so it is nice having somebody who honestly likes him.
I love him honestly, and I like in my AUs and stuff. I'll definitely I don't really project onto characters I write a whole lot, but like I'll definitely push like the existential dread of being in your 20s onto Wilbur a bit more in my stories than I do. But then like obviously I'm not going to do that with Tommy because Tommy's like 16,
Yeah.
17 or whatever in my fics.
Tommy's like not even 18.
Yeah.
Didn't he dox himself accidentally a little bit ago? Wait,
Yeah,
like he's a child.
he made a TikTok and like earlier today and showed his apartment on it. I don't know if it was actually his apartment, but like he said he showed an apartment building and said it was his apartment building, and I'm just like, oh fucking hell, dude.
Oh, dude, you're a child. Oh, whose child
I
is this?
really hope that wasn't actually his apartment like his apartment building. I hope he's not that dumb, but also I don't know.
Okay, like going back to like the Dream SMP, like aside from your writing and everything, who's your favorite character? This question always tells me a lot about people.
Just like on the Dream SMP in general.
Yes.
Oh, that's so hard. God, because they're like I don't know, cause I usually wanna say Tommy because I'm most invested in his, like, story and his characterization, but also, again, I mentioned I really like Wilbur as a character in the Dream SMP because I think he's just really complicated and very interesting, but also, if I had to say, like, who, like, I think is one of the most well-written characters besides, like, Tommy and Wilbur, Sam, honestly, is a character that I
Yay!
love. I love Sam as a character
Me
so much.
too.
That man is he's a goddamn mess, but I love analyzing his lore and stuff. I used to before I got big for Clinic, I was trying to like get a little more popular on like Minecraft, YouTube, Tumblr, and I wrote a lot of analysis posts for lore and stuff. And I started like getting a lot of attention because I wrote a lot of like CSAM analysis because I really found his character very interesting. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, no, I would say like top 3 would probably be Tommy, Wilbur, and Sam are like my favorite Dream SMP
But,
characters, but
oh,
Sam
I
is not
like
a
that.
character. I don't like Sam as a person. I'm a Sam enjoyer, but I'm not an apologist for him because
You're
that
not.
man is a goddamn mess.
That's great. My top three is like Tommy, Sam, Quackity, so like I get that.
Quackity is a really good character too.
Yeah,
I
personally, I
definitely
am a
have
Sam apologist, but that is not the point of this conversation.
valid.
Listen. Yeah, this question tells me a lot about people because like, who's your favorite character? Oh, Canon Dream. Okay,
Well, the
go
thing
on.
is though, no, but the
No,
thing
I
is like
love
you can
him. I
do
love him
that.
as a character, but like, you know.
Yeah, no, like the thing is, I mean, I don't it really depends on just like you can enjoy a character and be an apologist for them. Like again,
Oh
I'm
yeah, of
not an
course.
apologist for Sam. Sam's a goddamn mess. And also I
Yeah,
do actually really enjoy Dream as a character.
me too.
I
He's
think
such a great character and actor.
yeah, his acting is like CC Dream's acting has gotten so good recently. Just like
Yeah.
he's improved so much, and it's so entertaining to watch him just be like this really fucked up evil villain. I really like him as a character because I like enjoying like evil characters.
I know, like, I don't know if people don't understand this, but when I try to explain, but let's see if you can understand if I'm just bad at explaining things. He's the perfect mix between Heath Ledger Joker and a Looney Tunes villain.
Wait, can you say that one more time? He's the perfect mix of the Joker and who?
And a Looney Tunes villain.
You know, you're kind of right. I, you know,
Yeah.
I can definitely see that. I don't know. I would say he's a little bit more serious
Like
than
he's
those
because like
that combination of two characters would
yeah,
imply, but at the same time, I do
he's
understand exactly
silly.
what you mean by that.
At the same time,
He can
like
be
in
very
his lore, he was basically like throwing ambush at people and tying them to train tracks. He's a silly villain and so damn menacing.
exactly, yeah, no, he does some, like, just very overdramatic, like, villain shit all the time, and has, like, all these dramatic villain monologues and everything, and I love it. I think it's really funny and so entertaining, honestly, and he's a genuinely scary villain too, which is
Yeah,
really,
because
really
he's
interesting.
terrifying.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. His acting is like CC Dream's acting has just gotten so, so good to the point where, like, you'll genuinely be terrified when you see him, like, log
Yeah.
into the server.
Like I would not be surprised if like we see him get like hired for voice acting gigs like in 2015 when a lot of YouTubers, at least in Latin America, were doing voice acting gigs because companies were like, oh, YouTubers are famous with kids, let's give them animation works. Like I would not
Oh,
be
yeah.
surprised if that happened to Dream. I would not be surprised.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised either. I think he is honestly, like, he could be a really good voice actor.
What was your expectation like when joining this fandom? Were you expecting it to become the fandom in itself that this big and
Mm,
have you in like one of the centerpieces?
no, I would say the way I got into Dream SMP was a little, like, interesting because I have been watching Wilbur as a YouTuber, since, like, early 2020. Like, I first started watching him around, like, February or March of 2020. So, like, before the Dream SMP was a thing, I started watching him, and, I just only watched his 100 player videos. I didn't really watch much else by him, but I really liked him. And that was kind of my first introduction to the new age Minecraft YouTube because when I was like 13, I was into OG Minecraft YouTube, but then this was kind of like my first entrance into the new age of it. And then I didn't really pay much attention to anything Wilbur posted besides his 100 player videos because that was really all I was like interested in. And I just somehow missed everyone talking about the Dream SMP for a very long time, and Wilbur was, like, my only entry point in the Minecraft YouTube. I did not hear about Dream as a person until I was on the Dream SMP wiki, and I realized, "Oh, the Dream SMP is named after a person?" Like, I
Wow,
had such
really?
yeah, no, that's the thing. I had no idea Dream fucking existed as a person. I
That's
had never heard
impressive.
of
That's
I never
impressive.
heard of the speedrunning stuff. I never heard of manhunts. I literally didn't hear about that at all. I don't even remember where I started about hearing I don't even remember where I started hearing about the Dream SMP from. I just started hearing about it every once in a while and I didn't know what it was about. And then at one point, I think I just looked it up out of curiosity and I went on the wiki. And this was a very end of December 2020 was when this was happening. And I saw Wilbur was on it, and I was like, "Oh, I know Wilbur Soot. That's a YouTuber I've been subscribed to for a while now." And I looked into it, and I saw he had a villain arc kind of thing because this was December 2020. He's pulling up Pogtopia happened, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then I was like, "Oh, so this is like a role play thing." And because I liked Wilbur Soot as a YouTuber, I was like, "Oh, let me watch him blow up this country. Why not?" So I watched him. I watched his final Pogtopia video where he blew up L'Manberg. And I was like, "Holy shit, this acting is actually pretty good." So then from there, I started reading more on the wiki, and I read a bunch of stuff on the wiki, and then I started diving into the Tumblr tags for it as well, and I started getting caught up on lore that way. I didn't go back and rewatch VODs really. I watched Wilbur's videos for, like, the Pogtopia arc, but that was about it. I didn't really go and watch a lot of VODs or anything. And then I just started reading up on the wiki, reading stuff people were posting about in the Tumblr tag. I kind of caught myself up over the course of like a week basically through that. And then I caught like my first live stream, and I'm pretty sure my first live stream was Doomsday,
Ooh, that
which
is a
the
heavy place.
yeah, that was quite the stream to, like, catch for the first time, because I had figured out at that point that Tommy I'd never heard of Tommy either, which was weird because here's the thing, I was watching all of Wilbur's 100 player videos, I never fucking acknowledged Tommy's existence, like, I went back and rewatched some old 100 player videos, like, a few months after I gotten into the Dream Recipe. I went back and rewatched, like, a 100 player video that I knew I'd seen before because I knew the jokes and stuff. But then Tommy was there, and I was like, "Was Tommy always there?" I did not remember hearing his voice before, and I had watched all of Wilbur's 100-player videos, so he was in them, and I just
Mm.
never acknowledged Tommy in its existence until I started watching the Dream SMP, and then I went back and I rewatched them, and I'm like, "When the fuck did Tommy get there?" So that was very interesting for me to go back and
Yeah.
watch and be like, "When was Tommy always there?" Acknowledge any other YouTuber that appeared in Wilbur's, like, 100-player videos. So it's really funny when I go back and watch them and I'm like, "Wait, Phil was there? Wait, Tommy was there? Wait, Sneak was there?" Like, I go back and I recognize people now and I'm like, "Holy shit."
That is amazing. That is honestly amazing. I still cannot wrap my head around the fact that you have somehow managed to not know who Dream was, which is admirable.
I I have no idea how I managed that. Like, I literally did not know that Dream was a person. I thought the Dream SMP was named Dream SMP because it had something to do with dreams or something. I thought it was just a cool name. And then, like, I was reading the Dream SMP wiki and I saw someone mention, like, Dream as a person. I was like, wait, that's a dude? and
That's,
then I
that's a
looked at him and
scraggly dude.
I had never heard of him before. And it was really funny.
Yeah. Like because my like introduction to Dream was with an Android Bear video because and I come from like the YouTube animation community, it is always like interesting to see how other people got into it. Especially when like you don't know who Dream was. And I now go back and I'm like, oh, it was this dude. It is
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah, no, it's really funny. I literally have no idea how I just missed any mention of him, especially all the way into late
Uh,
2020. I have no idea how I missed him.
yeah. I wouldn't say that you miss him. It's like, were you like into Minecraft beforehand? Because I think if you weren't into Minecraft, it was like more easy to like miss him.
I mean, again, I was watching Wilbur's 100-player videos pretty regularly. I was into Wilbur stuff, and I knew who Technoblade was. Um, and then I knew who Schlatt was as well because I'd seen the Water Rising and Lava Rising videos Wilbur had
Oh
done.
yeah.
And I knew who Charlie Slime School. I knew him because he was actually his natural disaster mod video was actually what got me into new age YouTube, like new age Minecraft YouTube in the first place. Like
Oh.
I went from like I got the natural disaster mod video and I recommended like late 2019 or something, and I clicked on it, and that's how I found Schlatt. And then from that, I got in my recommended the Water Rising video with Schlatt and Wilbur, and so then I watched that, and I was like, oh yeah, it's this guy Schlatt again. He's funny. And then I watched the Water Rising video, and I was like, oh, this Wilbur guy's really funny. So then I clicked on his channel and I watched more Wilbur stuff, and that's how I got to Wilbur. So it's like the pipeline of Charlie to Charlie to getting Water Rising in my recommended because of Schlatt, and then Wilbur.
Nice. Do you regret like would if you could change like getting into a fandom, would you do it or would you like not?
Oh, I would 100% get into this fandom again. And I think I would do it the same way. Maybe I would try to get in a little sooner, honestly, because I do wish I had been around for like more of the Lemanberg stuff when that was going on. But I wouldn't. I love being in this fandom. I mean, hell, I've gotten famous in it, so that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy being in this fandom. I'm really glad that I ended up getting into this.
That is great. That is great. I honestly like I gonna get personal for a second. I love this fandom because of how like it is big but it is also like close. I don't know how to
Mhm.
explain that, you know?
Yeah, I think it's because you have so many like different like subsectors of it. Like you have the different like the groups. Basically, you have kind of like the different halves of like I mean like dream the people who main looking at dream team stuff, and then you have like the
Yeah.
groups who main looking at like more SBI stuff and all the people connected to them. So you have those like two different halves of it, and then from there you can get into more specific like people who focus on certain duos or people who focus on certain like I don't know, sub Twitters or whatever the hell. I don't know how Twitter works that much. So
Yeah, I know. I think we say subtitles when we like refer to the part of the fandom we are at. What is like what which who are your mains like in a matter of like sections of this fandom?
sections of the I don't know
Like
exactly
what
what
kind of content do you prefer to like interact with? Like SBI, Awesome Dad,
I mean,
the other
it's
shit.
I mean, it's definitely SBI. I'm definitely SBI focused. I'm just Crime Boys focused primarily. Wilbur is my favorite CC out of the entire like Dream SMP because I've been watching him the longest, and so Wilbur's my favorite CC. Tommy's my other favorite CC. So I'm very much a Crime Boys main specifically, but also I really enjoy SBI and the connections. I really like Bench Trio. So I would say I'm like Prime Boys centric, I guess. Wilbur and Tommy are like my two favorite CCs, and then Bench Trio I really like. Clingy duo and Allium duo, and then like all three of them together. I think the three of them are all really funny on their own and as like together. And then from there, and then it's like general SBI. I don't want to meet like I don't want to meet him in real life. I don't really want to meet CCs in real life.
Valid, honestly valid. I think a lot of people are like in that stance right now that yes, I am a part of this fandom, but I also am a writer for this fandom and I have written you getting murdered. So let's not.
Yeah, basically. It's also just like, yeah, like we have a degree, we have like a boundary, the parasocialism boundary and stuff.
Yeah.
I like these content creators being unreachable. I don't want them to actually like the idea of like actually meeting a CC face to face is just very like, oh Jesus to me, which is also why like when VidCon was still happening, I live actually really close to where VidCon happened. Like I'm not that far away. I had no
Uh-huh.
plans to go to it. I did not want to go to it. Like before it got canceled, I did not want to go to it because I was like, I don't want to meet CCs in real life.
You were like, yeah, let's better not. Let's better not.
Yeah. And then it got canceled, and I was like, "Oh, thank God," because COVID was not great.
Like I think a lot of people don't realize that when you have like so strong parasocial relationship with streamers, it is not a good idea meeting them in real life.
Mhm. Yeah, and I
Like
mean, I wouldn't say
that
I
is the good thing of doing that. I literally live the other side of the planet. That is the good thing. I am out of risk.
you're not in a risk zone.
I'm out of the risk zone. I live in
Uh,
Argentina. There is no one here.
yeah, no, you are home free. I mean, yeah, the thing is, I wouldn't say I have like. I mean, I think everyone has like parasocial moments with streamers they like, and
Yeah.
parasocialism in itself is not inherently like a negative. It's more just like how aware you are of it, and that you need to remind yourself like you don't actually know these people, and that's something I'm very aware of, and I always make sure to keep that in my mind and stuff because I think a lot of people can kind of like get lost in that whole idea. And when you do have people that are really, really heavily invested, like parasocially in a streamer, then yeah, definitely it's not a good idea for them to meet these people in real life, I think.
Yeah. But like I think like you just something that I have never heard and it is great that it is parasocialism is not that bad as long as you're aware of it. Being like weird
Mhm.
champ. I think like the problem with fandom is that a lot of people don't realize it. Like for example, I don't know if you know this, but there is this TikTok series about like the DSMP workers, which is basically just normal people who live on the DSMP, like the McPaffy's workers and everything. And people were making OCs for this series, which is great, but like they also had to like put a stop to it because they were like, hey, you can't make OCs. Please stop saying like, oh, I'm like this CC's brother. That is not how the series was meant to work. It was meant to be like the normal people, not just OCs who were so closely related to characters. And they
Oh
were like,
yeah.
this is getting weird, champ.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely yeah, in situations like that, again, that can get like very weird. I mean, like I love the idea of like I've seen memes before that's like from the point of view of citizens of the Dream SMP, and I think those are really funny.
Hmm.
Um, but when you start making like sonas or whatever, or like OCs or sonas, I don't really know like what the difference is exactly, but
Oh, an
um,
OC is an original character. A Sona is literally based off of you.
got it. Okay, that makes more sense. Then yeah, I guess when you're making like sonas, because I've seen DSMP sonas being very popular, and they have connections to like the actual CC. I'm like, yeah, no, that's a little parasocial, buddy, and not in a like a good way. But thing is, parasocialism in itself is a natural. Like humans are going to do that when you are seeing like people on TV or whatever, and you're learning about these people. Your brain is going to think in a way like that you are connected, even though you're not. That's just a natural like psychological response. And
Mhm.
again, you just need to be aware of it. But it's not just a thing exclusively tied to fandom. Like my own mother does it with tennis players a lot. It's really funny to watch because she'll talk about tennis players. Sometimes like I hear people talking about streamers and I'm like, this is really funny to me because it goes to show that like parasocialism can exist at like any age and with different people, and it's just a matter of like how self-aware you are about it. and making sure that you don't actually like go too far with it or anything.
That is a great point. A great stance to have, actually. Hmm.
Thank you.
I really like that. So going back to fun stuff and like away from serious shit for a second. Do you have any more plans to like make after like you finish the World Forgetting? Are you planning to make more like big fics on this fandom or center on like the smaller ones? Do you have projects for the future?
The thing is, I don't know. I didn't expect my interest. I didn't. I have like I will admit, I have a hyperfixation on Dream SMP as a fandom, and that's how it works with most of the fandoms I write a lot of fic boards because I have like an actual hyperfixation on it because I have ADHD, and I usually can't predict how long they're gonna last. I didn't expect my Minecraft YouTube slash like Dream SMP hyperfixation to last as long as it has. I didn't think it was gonna last all the way to the end of clinic, and here I am. I'm still fully in it. So I do have ideas for projects I want to do after I finish World Forgetting, but I'm not gonna like be very concrete about it until I'm reaching the end of World Forgetting and seeing if I do still have that same interest or if it's starting to wane at all. Because again, I wasn't expecting to still be into Dream SMP at this point. I'm happy I am because I want to be creating for this fandom. But I just have to wait and see how like into the fandom I still am by the time I get to the end of World Forgetting. But if we're going with the assumption that I am still completely into it and my hyperfixation is still going strong, then yes, I do have an idea for a multi-chapter fic that I actually came up with all the way back in like October, I think. That
Well, it's a long time.
I really, really would love to write that. So I would really love if I'm still interested in the fandom by the time I finish World Forgetting, because I would love to be able to write that as a fic.
Yay! Like
So
a lot.
that'll probably be like my next big project after World Forgetting ends if I'm still into this fandom.
Good. I like that you're planning to stay in this fandom for a long time. Like as someone who's like a big fan of your fics,
Thank you. It's okay.
do you
Yeah,
interact like with the fandom a lot? Aside from
um,
like fan fiction and all that?
I mean, yeah, I'm not as active on my Minecraft YouTube Tumblr as I was anymore. And I mean, I'm still really active. I reblog stuff every day pretty much. I'm on there all the time. But I'm definitely not as like making my own original posts as much as I used to on there since I started getting big in the fan fiction realm of it. Because like I mentioned, I used to make a lot of lore analysis posts. I don't really do that
Uh-huh.
anymore, just because like I just don't have the energy. I want to write fic instead, instead of analyzing lore. And I don't have a huge interest. I don't have as much of an interest in lore specifically as I used to. Um,
Mhm.
so but I do interact with the fandom in the sense of like just Discord servers. I have like two main Discord servers I talk in. One is the first ever like Minecraft YouTube Discord server that I joined when I was first getting into this fandom because I wanted to find an 18 plus server specifically because I wanted a space away from like because like again, no offense to the kids, but like I'm like 21.
I
I
get it.
wanted
I
kind of
get it. Don't worry.
I want I was 20 at the time, but like yeah, I wanted like kind of a space with like other adults to talk about this stuff. And I got really, really lucky because I just got sent a link to like a kind of semi-private 18 plus Minecraft YouTube Discord server, and I've made a ton of friends in there, and it's honestly my favorite server to talk in at this point. Everyone there knows my real name at this point, and my face revealed and stuff, and they're like my closest group, and so that's kind of my main fandom interaction is them because we have like a bunch of live chats for when streams are happening and stuff, and we do lore analysis together and stuff like that. Talk about fics and everything. So that's kind of my main fandom interaction. And then I've recently started talking in another Discord server that I got invited to recently that has a lot of authors in the fandom in it. I really like the vibes there. It's a really chill place. And I really like just interacting with other fic writers in this fandom and like talking with them about ideas and everything. And we're actually doing like a whole challenge fic group thing that we'll all be posting to a collection soon. So I'm not going to give any more details, not going to say who's involved and stuff yet, but keep on the lookout for that in like late February.
Mhm.
But yeah, no,
That's
so my main fandom interaction these days is mostly through Discord servers, I would say.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that like that experience with Discord servers, being like a big part of it. At least I am. I know I am in a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's been very interesting to see how fandom has really kind of evolved into becoming like Discord servers becoming central to fandom involvement over the years because I remember like that first started becoming a thing I think like around the time the Voltron fandom was big. That was the first time I joined a fandom Discord server was in when I was into Voltron and I joined a Voltron like a clans themed one. And that was kind of my first experience with the fandom Discord server. And it's really, those have really become essential, I think, to online internet fandom in general. And they're very unique, you know, because they're very closed off in a lot of senses. Though I would say outside of Discord servers, I'm primarily like Tumblr is how I interact with the fandom mostly because that's the platform I've been on since I was 14. It's what I'm familiar with. I don't understand how Twitter fandom works, and I kind of am scared of it.
Yeah, aside from like your stories, like your Discord server for Clinic is also one of like the biggest things. It is like very
Yeah,
big on the fandom. Were you
yeah,
expecting that?
no, I wasn't. I have over 1,000 members in that thing at this point, and it's really like insane to me that just that many people wanted to join my Discord server for clinic and stuff. So it's definitely really cool to see, and it's really wild to just have this many people who enjoy my work and stuff. Though you know, it also becomes tiring because you know I'm the admin of a huge server now, and I wasn't really expecting that, so it definitely gets tiring in a sense. But I have a really great mod team that I'm really lucky to have.
Honestly, your mods are so cool. Like I once saw like a group of people having like a discussion about figure writing, and some of the mods were involved, and it was very funny.
Yeah, my mods are all really, really cool. I'm very lucky to have the mod team that I have.
Are you happy with like the place you have in this fandom now?
I would say I am in the sense that like I have achieved more like I guess notoriety than I ever thought I would. But also it's strange in the sense that you know CC's talk about this a lot with like numbers not feeling real. You can't really
Mm.
conceptualize how big the numbers are at certain
Yeah.
and I have found that like that definitely started happening with Clinic. Once I got to about 100,000 hits, that's when it really stopped registering for me. And it's hard because I try to be aware, like this is insane. I am very popular. This is I'm very fortunate, and but it is hard to process because then sometimes I still look at stats and I'm like, oh, this chapter I didn't get like as many kudos after posting this chapter or something, and I'm getting like like when I was posting Clinic, you know, I would average getting like 10,000 hits in a day at a point every time I posted a new chapter of Clinic. Like I would go up with like around 10,000 hits, which is insane. And in the past, I would have been like, holy fuck. But it gets to a point where you get used to it and you're like, oh, am I not doing good enough if you don't hit that same kind of numbers?
Yeah.
Um, so I'm happy with my place in the fandom in the sense that I'm aware that it's really pop, that I have like a big following at this point, but I also don't feel like I do. So it's weird
You've
because I need
yeah. I think it's
like
easy to get disconnected from it after
yeah,
a long time.
yeah, and also I feel like I know that this isn't necessarily true, but I feel like more people they know about Clinic, but they don't actually know who I am as an author. Like, you know, I have my one really famous fic, and the rest of my fics are like definitely like getting popular, but they're not like at that same level of fame, you know, and that's fine, and that is perfectly fine. I need to keep reminding myself of that. But I don't feel like my name as an author is actually known compared to like just my one fic being known, you know, if that makes sense. I don't know if that exactly makes sense.
No,
So
yes,
I feel it,
it makes sense. It makes sense. It
so
feels
I feel
like
like
the
my
fig is popular, not you.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly kind of the vibe I get. And I know that's probably not true and that's just my own point of view. But I would say if I have like as far as where my place is in the fandom, I'm not happy in that sense that I want to now that I guess like since I've reached the goal of getting a famous fic, which is really awesome. I guess if I had to have a goal to reach for, it would be I want to be known like name wise as an author. I want people to know exactly like I want people to know my name like they know Silverwing's name and stuff.
Yeah,
And
you want to
maybe
be
the
like Sir Cantus, Molly King,
mhm,
Silverwing 15. Like, they are famous because they are them, not just they
exactly.
have one fig.
Yeah, exactly. And I do want to clarify. I'm not meaning this in the sense that like, oh, I'm only here for clout because
No,
admittedly,
no,
yeah,
trust me, I get
clout
how you
is
feel. I get how you feel.
yeah, it's like of course, like, I'm writing fic because I enjoy it, first and foremost. I do not write stuff that I don't enjoy, and if I'm not enjoying a story, then I stop writing it. That's why Big Q's Big Six got discontinued, because I got, like, bored of it. Maybe I'll pick it up again someday, I don't know. I'm not saying it's permanently shut off, but for the moment, it's on indefinite hiatus, and the thing is, I write fic for my own enjoyment first and foremost. And I'm not gonna, if I stop enjoying it, I wouldn't necessarily force myself to keep doing it. But also, I am kind of in it in the sense that I really like having this like validation, and I like having like a fan base that like, fan base, I guess. I don't know. That sounds really fucking stuck
Mhm.
up because I'm a fic writer, but I guess like this community is a better way to put it, that enjoys my work and that I know, like, I have regular readers, like a lot of regular readers at this point. And so it's like it's just weird because I want more of that basically, but I also don't want to sound like I'm ungrateful for all the attention I've already gotten.
No, I don't think it's an ungrateful. It sounds more like you want a community around your works more than around just one fic.
Yeah, that's
It
basically
is
it. And
understandable.
I definitely like do get like a little annoyed, I guess I would say, when people ask me stuff like, are you writing a sequel to Clinic, or why aren't you writing a sequel to Clinic? Or is World Forgetting part of the Clinic universe even? I've said multiple times it's not. um, and it's like, and again, I'm not ungrateful. Like, I'm really glad that Clinic got so popular and that so many people like it as a story. But again, I do want people to like my other kind of stories as well, because I do put a lot of effort into the other things I write. And Clinic was just kind of one side of my writing.
Hmm. No, because I get how you feel. Like this is going to sound again, this is going to sound brag on my part. But back when I just started in writing fan fiction, I had this back on Wattpad, have this in mind. I had this very big story. Like I think right now it's at I don't know, I don't have Wattpad anymore. Last time I checked, it was at 400,000 reads, and
That's really good.
it felt a lot like that. Like people only focused on that story and the sequels I forced myself to make, more than on the fact that hey, I am writing other things. I want other things to get as much love as this is getting. Why do you only ask me about this one thing? I don't think you sound ungrateful. I think it's understandable.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm coming across like how I mean when I'm like saying this stuff, because yeah, I'm like so happy that Clinic got so popular. But yeah, also in the sense that, I want people to like my other stories as well, because I have a lot of different ideas, and I don't want to just be known for Clinic. I want to be known just for my writing in general, which I do think I have already achieved that to a certain extent. But I'm still not sure how well I've achieved that. So that's kind of the goal I'm basically working towards, as a fic writer in this fandom. I'm like, okay, I've already gotten this solid of a boost so far. I need to keep riding with it, basically.
Hmm, that is great. And on that note, we're actually about to run out of time. So
Ooh, all
I'm
right,
going
that
to
went by
make
really fast.
I'm going to make my big question that I stole from Anthony Padilla, but modified. You have 2 minutes to promote anything you want in 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, fuck! I feel like I'm on an Anthony Padilla interview.
I
um,
stole it from him.
listen to Fancast. It's a really cool podcast.
Oh,
um,
you.
also,
You.
I am I am Bones and the Bees on Archive of Our Own, Tumblr, and Twitter. Follow me on Tumblr if you're on there. I post that's where I post most of my hot takes, because I'm a little scared to post my hot takes on Twitter.
Vale.
And then on Twitter, sometimes I make shit posts. But then if you really want the stuff I do, Bones and the Bees on AO3, that's where you're gonna find most of my stuff. I'm pretty cool and I write a lot of stories. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to promote. Listen to more Fancast though. It's a really cool podcast.
Oh, thank you. That is very big coming from you. Thank you. And I actually
Yeah,
should follow. I didn't know you were on Twitter. I should follow you on there.
yes, I do have a Twitter. And a lot of times I'll post little like snippets or sneak peeks at different works in progress I have going on.
Great. And on that note, thank you everyone for coming to this episode of Fancast. As I already said, Unfortunately, we are not doing this podcast live anymore, so I don't know when you are actually hearing this because I am a little bit slow of editing. But thank you all for coming. Thank you for coming. It was lovely having you here.